Okay. Hi. Hi, guys. I have all my friends in the room. That's great. All good? Okay, so hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jacques. I'm one of the author of ERC 777, the new token standard. And today I'm going to talk about how it improves a bit safety and security, and like what to do when you implement or when you interact with ERC 777. So very quick intro for those of you that are not familiar with it. It defines a single send process both for regular accounts and contracts. So there's no more approve transfer from ERC20. And the contracts react when they receive tokens based on the tokens recipient hook. There is a clearly defined life cycle for tokens, so we define what minting is, what burning is, and you have a really explicit lifespan for tokens. We removed the ambiguity and the issue with decimals, so it's always 18. I'll get on that later. We define the concept of operators, which is any address that can send tokens, including tokens from some other address. We have hooks, as the one I mentioned before, to react whenever your tokens are being sent or received. And the whole thing is backward compatible with ERC20. If you're not familiar with it, I encourage you to watch last year's talk I did to introduce the standard. It's on YouTube. I'll publish the slides as well, so you can have the link. So safety aspect. So I'm talking about something that's like unplanned or accidental, some manipulation you make that has unintended consequences. The first one is 777 prevent locking of tokens by mistake. So if the contract doesn't state explicitly that he's able to receive and handle tokens, trying to send tokens to that contract will fail. And so you have to explicitly implement a hook saying, yes, I can handle tokens. That's the first thing. And obviously, if you implement the hook but don't actually handle the tokens, then you can intentionally lock tokens in a contract. But there is no unintentional lock. The decimal was very confusing in ERC20. It was an optional function. So in 777, we simply set it to 18. So there is no decimal function in ERC 777. It's just 18, and whenever you have amounts, you have to convert them. You do have to check for granularity, which is the minimum amount of tokens you can send at once. It's a simple modulo operation. You take the amount as an integer before applying the 18 decimal conversion, and based on the granularity as indicated by the token contract, you can see that the amount you're sending is actually within the granularity indicated. For security aspects, so this is more like hackers and trying to protect or defend against people trying to steal tokens or lock tokens or abuse token contracts. There is no more approved race condition that is present in ERC20 unless you implement the ERC20 methods. But ERC 777 does not have that issue. There is better control over how you can spend your token using the hooks, or you can receive them. So for example, you can actually define your phone as an operator that can send tokens from your cold wallet storage. And so you can have a massive amount of token, and the phone can just spend them freely. But you put a hook in there that will give a quota. And so if your phone gets stolen, you will be able to revoke the phone as an operator to not spend tokens. And between the time where it gets stolen and gets revoked, if the hackers or the thief try to spend the tokens, there is a quota system in place that you can put in your hook, so they can't steal all of your tokens, just a limited amount. So that's just one of the examples of how you can improve the safety of your own tokens. The concept of operators allows you to move functionality outside of the token contract. So if there is an issue of vulnerability with this functionality, you can always unauthorize the operator, you can deploy a new operator with a fix without affecting the token contract. You don't have a vulnerable token contract. And the other thing I just forgot to mention is that you can reuse existing operators. So I can deploy an operator, and then you guys can actually use it for your own token without having to re-implement it or copy-pasting the implementation. It's already there, and that contract can be audited to make sure it's correct. So an example of a hook. Here we have a very simple hook with a quota. So you can verify. So what you do is you define a simple function to set a quota, and you say, okay, well, for this token, this is my daily quota. And then you implement the tokens to send function. On the token to send, just make sure that you have updates the time frame of the window of the quota, so daily, and resets it every day whenever you call the function. And then you just simply check that the amount you're sending doesn't exceed the quota. And then if it's correct, you just update the use part of the quota, and you can have this system, and within a 24-hour period, you can never spend more than the quota, no matter who spends the token. So that's the quota example. For operators, here we have like payment processors. So what happens is you define a dispatcher, an address that can basically spend your token through that operator, and you set the recipient address. And then what you have is a simple function, and this address can spend your token, but they can only send it to an address you decide. And that means you can authorize a third-party payment processors to do transfer on your behalf, but you always control who receives the token. And you can imagine a service like this where this service does your transaction for you in a safe way, and you don't have to pay for gas, and maybe you pay a monthly subscription for that service. So here is an example of what not to do. This is a simple hook you can deploy. First thing is, don't check for the operator that is authorized or not. This is part of the token contract, so you don't have to do it in there. Secondly, and more importantly, we're not checking the message sender of the function, which means this applies to all the tokens that you have, not a specific token. So you have to be very careful with this to apply the logic also to operator to each token individually. Secondly, here we have a system, a little check that's kind of like I'm locking the token for a set amount of time for like a pre-sale or something like this. And in this case, this is a behavior that whoever designed the token wants to enforce on all the users. But the hook is controlled by the user. So you don't want to put those types of features in a hook that the user can just bypass by not using the hook. This is something you put either in the token contract, or better, you use the minting, which is part of the life cycle, and give them signed messages for them to mint their token after the pre-sale. So they can check that they can have their token in a trustless way, just looking at the contract, but they don't have them before. And then that's a better way to do it. Finally, we have here another system in the hook, which takes a fee and then sends it to whoever collects the fee for the transfer. So if you want to do like a fee system or something like this, again, don't put it in there because you can just bypass it. A better solution is put this in an operator. So you can't force the users to use your operator, but you can force them to use the operator when they send money back to you. So you can have a hook and say, I only accept money from that operator. That way, the users can trade tokens between them freely, but if they want to use your service with the tokens, they can easily do it through your operator, and they have the fee at that point. That's also a better way to do it. As an overview of this, what we do is 18 decimals. That's really important. Just apply it all the time. If you hold any 777 tokens, or try to use those hooks to improve your security and your safety and keep your assets safe. If you want to design a token, if you're someone creating a token, try to use operators, try to reuse existing operators and not put too much features into your token contract and open it to vulnerabilities and harder code reviews as well and audits. If you're using an operator as a token holders and you don't like it, you can always revoke it. So just be careful what you authorize, and remember to unauthorize whatever you don't feel comfortable with. Finally, as a token designer or a service provider, a good pattern is also to require, I want you to use my operator to to cash out or to use my service. That way you can enforce the behavior that way, but you don't force the behavior for every transfer, just the one related to you. And overall, try to keep your code clean, even if you don't work in 777, but like try to keep it simple. And this is also what operators and hooks allows you to like split your code in small, comprehensible pieces of code. I went somewhat quickly with this, so I can take some questions. If you have any, feel free. If anyone has questions, I think we have a couple minutes. Did you guys understand anything? Yeah, Griff?
What's the latest on Ethereum? What's the status of getting the EIP through? The 2077?
So, yeah, that's the big question everybody's asking, and I'm happy to give an update on that now. 777 relied on ERC 820, which was the registry to deal with the hooks. The latest Solidity upgrades affected that, and so we had to do a new version. So there is a new EIP. I'm waiting to merge it, and that's a copy of the old one with the fix for whatever was broken, and that is ready to go now. I need a couple minutes once it's merged to put it into last call. That's a 2 weeks delay. For 777, it's almost ready. I'm working on it. I had other things to do before. I was a bit short on time, but now I should have more time. And we will. I just have to basically update the reference implementation to Solidity 0.5, clean up a bit the code, which I already did in the last few days on the standards, and then hopefully put it to last call, 2 weeks. Plus whatever time I need before to clean it. So I really hope by the end of the month at the latest, but I can't guarantee it. So please don't go crazy if on the 2nd of April it's still in last call or something. But that's the timeline I would like to have, yeah.
Are there very many projects that are looking to push this forward, like that are waiting for last call?
So I know a couple projects that want to use 777. If you go look on the issue, there's also people that are interested to use it and they're pushing for it, which is a good thing. I don't know specifically for which project those people want to use it, but they are interested by it. And hopefully many people will use it. That's the idea. More question? No. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. And if you do come up with a question after you walk out, feel free to come and meet me at any point during the conference. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you, guys.